So recently, I was within a half a foot of almost getting killed while riding my bike here in downtown Toronto. And look at this asshole. This guy's going backwards on the one-way street. It has everything to do about how the city has designed the streets to be hostile to everybody on the roads. But let me explain.
I hate this part.
I consider Adelaide to be one of the most dangerous streets to bike on in the city. It's absolutely insane. First you have this here. This is like all just random cars parked on the road and the bike lane. You have to merge into traffic. It's just insane. Why does that have to be a thing? And the fact that it happens twice on Adelaide is just absolutely stupid design. I just don't understand. Like, look at all these cars here. Where there should be just a bike lane here. So once you get beyond Financial District, Adelaide turns into a complete nightmare. In fact, this road now suddenly turns into the road that leads to the highway, which means that everybody's speeding up on this street. Right, what's going on here? Right behind me here, this is the corner of Princess and Adelaide. This is the corner where I was almost struck by an Uber driver, and I want to show you the design of what's happening here. You see, this is a bus stop here, and because it's a bus stop, they had to remove the barriers on the road in order to let the bus stop in. You might have also noticed that the bike lane here is way wider than a usual bike lane. It's to help give that feeling of safety between the cyclists and the cars going 60-70 kilometers an hour. So as the cars fly by the cyclists, sometimes they just swerve through the bike lane and make a right-hand turn. Sometimes they don't look at their blind spot or whatever. But the point is, I was almost struck by an Uber driver when that had occurred at this intersection. Luckily, I was cycling alongside a few bike patrol officers and they caught the guy immediately. This is the first time this has happened to me. However, this is not the first time I've witnessed this happen to other cyclists on the roads. On Adelaide, between Adelaide and Richmond, I've seen this happen 6 or 7 times in the last 2 months, which is absolutely insane. And since we're on the topic of stupid street design, let me show you some other examples I've seen in the city, which should not be replicated anywhere in the world. Side note, for all the people that are watching that are not familiar with Toronto and not familiar about how streetcars affect driving in the city, there's streetcar tracks everywhere in Toronto, and they all have a different set of rules. It's really dumb, but let me explain. On Spadina Street, the streetcars are segregated and they are in the middle of the road. It's obvious where the cars are supposed to go, and it's very rare to see a car on the streetcar tracks. On King Street, the streetcars are given the highest priority, and cars are not allowed on the roads on a 2.6 kilometer stretch that cuts across downtown Toronto. There are barriers and signs put up at every intersection to say car traffic is not allowed here. More often, you see streets like Dundas, Queen, Bathurst, and Broadview, where cars are supposed to merge into the streetcar lanes. Some intersections have bus stops in the middle of the road, which adds another layer into the confusing road design language in the city. And then we have a couple new streets which deploy hostile design. They are just completely unintuitive and they encourage the wrong behavior. This is the intersection of Mill Street and Cherry right outside of Distillery District. At first glance, this looks like a regular intersection that is not particularly busy. However, on any given day, at any hour, I've seen multiple drivers repeatedly doing the same error. Now, I understand why drivers do this. Throughout our entire lives, starting from driving school, we're taught to aim beyond the median in the road. That's how streets are split at intersections all over the world. This intersection is one of the million exceptions to that rule. People that are not familiar with the area or downtown driving have no idea this exception is coming, and there's no strong visual indicators that this road is special, especially when there's no streetcars in sight. The consequences for drivers making these mistakes on Cherry Street are quite minimal. It's a low-speed area, it's not a busy street, so the city can get away with these stupid designs. However, so if you take a look at the intersection right now, the problem is that this lot is going to be a set of luxury condos. This lot over here is going to be, this is right now the production set for Titans, this is going to be a hospital, and this lot over here is going to be a hotel. So if we don't fix the problem now, there's going to be growing pains in the entire region. I just want to make a quick note. This is something that happens on the street. I haven't been able to capture footage of it, but I always see cars going on the wrong side of the street, going southbound into oncoming traffic. It's a lot of close calls on Cherry Street. It's just inherently really bad design. Hostile design is when the street makes you think that you're doing the right thing, when in fact you're doing wrong. And this has everything to do about where the median is on this street. Okay, let's just move on to the next thing. Now, one of the big things that you might overlook is look at where this bike lane is. It's in between the streetcar lane and the, I guess, the northbound traffic. And there's a surprising amount of like weirdness that goes along here. So take a look. Ooh. That was not particularly great. And as you continue up into this street, there's another weird thing that happens. And when you get to the end of the street, the bike lane ends just here, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to do. Am I just supposed to merge into regular traffic? It's just a dead end. See, there's like a level of afterthought, I think, that applies to bike infrastructure in the city, and it makes it dangerous for pretty much everybody involved. This is the intersection of Queens Quay and Bay, and this is a primary example of confusing drivers because the city design doesn't adhere to the normal street designs of like pretty much any street in North America. I've only been standing here for 2 minutes. I've already witnessed 3 errors at this intersection. This guy's gonna do it wrong. That guy's doing it wrong. This guy's also doing it wrong. This guy's gonna do it wrong too. That guy's trying to reverse. It's not the road. Oh man. This is a shit show. That guy's doing it correctly. This guy's driving into the streetcar lane. Now he's stuck in the middle of the road. The guy behind him's okay. Fixing the traffic things for tomorrow. I think this is like a daily thing they do every night. Come on, dude. Seriously? Oh, New York license plate. That makes a lot of sense. Now, it's one thing just to state problems, it's another thing to find solution to these problems, and I think I found some solutions to the problems with design in the city. So you may have noticed I wasn't wearing a helmet throughout this entire video. That was for dramatic effect. You should definitely wear a helmet if you're riding a bike or doing anything on the roads here in Toronto. I think the overall objective for design is try to make everything as intuitive as possible, so that way you minimize the amount of errors or the potential errors that can be caused by the lowest common denominator. So take a look at this example here. This is Queens Quay and Spadina. They've painted the roads here as a way for people to tell from far away that you're not supposed to be in this lane over here. They've already started implementing this idea here. Hopefully the city starts implementing this across all places where streetcars are only allowed. As for Adelaide and Richmond, there's a couple ideas that can be implemented right now at almost zero cost. For example, New York City just announced on October 21st that they're going to be making the street lights change to the timing of the cyclists in high-speed areas as opposed to motorists. Because from what they found cars speeding in a lot of different areas, which is the exact problem that we have here on Adelaide. In that same announcement, New York City had also announced they've built their 100th mile of barrier bike lanes, which is amazing. I think it's something that is a part of their Vision Zero project, which is something that we should be implementing here. But I have a much more crazier idea for Richmond and Adelaide. I think we should just flip the lanes here. You see, I don't think anyone really likes parking on the left side of the road, so we should move the cars from the left side of the road to the right and move the bike lane to the left. You know, if that was to occur, it would eliminate the possibility of cars making right-hand turns and not checking their blind spot. So I think that would be great. And it would also give cyclists a lot more space because, you know, in order for cars to turn left, they would have to go onto the other side of the road, which is also a great thing. So, you know, I'm not an expert at these things, but I think it's something that's really worth taking a look at. If this is something that has happened to you or directly has affected you, or you know anyone that it has, share this video. And, you know, if there's any other problem spots in the city, leave it in the comments below so the city can just look through the comments and just see how many problems we have in our city that can be fixed. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Not great, cable control systems. Nice parking in the bike lane, not great. Oh shit, dude. Rain process over here in the bike lane. That second legal parking area, which doesn't make any sense. Oh shit, this is a shit show. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Oh, now we're just gonna park in the bike. Oh no, this guy's turning right. Damn. On the super fast section of Adelaide, I really hope they, I don't know, on the super fast section, whoa, that guy's not even on this part. On the super fast section of Adelaide, I really hope that they, you know, change the lighting to cyclist speeds, because, you know, this is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone's going so fast here. Whoa, that guy almost got hit. Holy shit.